Hello and welcome to another Blender3D tutorial. Thank you very much for joining me. Why don't you pull up a stool, grab yourself a cup of tea, and let's blend together. Um, we're going to be making a game all the way through. There's a lot of stuff to do here, so I'll try to move as quick as I possibly can. The first thing that you need to do is build some assets. Think about textures, sound, images you might want to use. So you want to make sure they're copyright free. And the easy way to do this for this tutorial is to go to my website that I created just for this tutorial. And you can right click on the images and download them and so on. You can also save the one big file. It's a zip file that I'm going to put. But if not, here's a couple of tips and ways to uh, gain some assets. The first thing that we need to do is install a Python script, actually two of them, if they aren't installed already. So this is how you would do it. Open up wherever, open up File Explorer and go to wherever your Blender is saved and go into 2.79 file, go into scripts, go into add-ons, and you can see down here that they're here. You want to take both of these, you want to right click, you want to cut, yeah, right click and paste. That's how it's done. Now, the next thing you want to do for this tutorial is download this video that I made that has sound. And I'll show you how to take the sound out of the video after we download the video from YouTube. You can do this with just about any video. So here you go. At the video screen, what you want to do is go up to the address bar, and after the www dot, you want to type SS, as in Super Saver. But SS, it does not need to be capitalized, but I did that so you could see it. And you'll be taken to a similar site that shows a preview of the video you want to download. And you want to download from the video browser only. So download that. And we want to do the MP4. Make sure it's on the MP4. As far as I can tell, G3GP does not work on Blender. So once that's done, you want to open up Blender is where we're gonna go next. And here we go. And let's just start right now. I'm gonna go very kind of quickly, so I'm assuming that everybody knows Blender already. So the first thing we're going to do is get the sound out of the video that we just downloaded. So what you want to do is go up here to the default layout and go down here to video editing and go to add, or you can shift A with your mouse in this field, and we want to add a movie, and go to where you downloaded that movie to. Oh boy, I had a file. There we go. And this is the video. And so the bottom strip is the video and the top video is audio. If you're not sure which one is which, you can right click on the top for this example and scroll down here just a little bit, and you can draw waveform. and that way you know that that's the audio. So right click the bottom and hit X and go ahead and delete the whole thing. And we'll use the middle mouse button to scroll out a little bit. We don't need much audio here, so I'm actually just going to use, I'm just going to click right about here, and I'm going to make it frame 40. And here, let's go ahead and change we need to slow down. We need to change this the graph editor to properties. All right, and we're just gonna make the start frame at 40, and let's make the end frame. I'm just gonna click it right about there. So we'll do 170 for the end frame. All right, and then for some reason I like to bump up the resolution. It does not really matter. What is important is that the frame rate is at 30 frames per second if it's not already. So go ahead and scroll down a little bit, and we want to change the PNG. We want to change that to the FFmpeg video over here on the movie format. Okay, and the reason why is we need this encoding option. So we click on the encoding, and we scroll down a little bit more, and we go down to the audio code. We want to do MP3 audio code. All right, now we scroll all the way back up to the top, and because we have our frames set, we want to go to the audio and click the audio. Okay, now we need to change the container to be MP3, and the format here we need to change to 32 because it's 32-bit. All right, and then we need to have a sound or a name, so we'll just call it game for this example. And I don't want it in the documents, so I'm going to click on the desktop. All right, and make sure it's saved to the desktop and has a name. And then you click the mix down. There's no progress bar, but you'll return when you're done. Now, it's important at this point right now to take the start frame and make it back to 1. All right, it'll be important later on. We are not worried about the end frame, but the start frame needs to be 1. So go back up here to the default layout. All right, and now we're going to begin with we're gonna make the floor and the walls right now. So let's X and delete and Shift A, and we're gonna add a plane, and we want the size, so S or scale 1.5, so 15, and enter, and we want numpad 1 for front view and numpad 5 for orthographic view. All right, now we're going to add a cube, so Shift A and add a mesh cube, and we want to scale or S on the Y or Yankee axis and 6, and enter. And we want to scale on the X axis 0.2 and enter. All right, now let's go numpad 7 to go into top view. All right, now let's take this one piece and make it into walls. What we want to do is make sure it's selected and Shift D on the X axis, and we want to do it -15, enter. Now, because we duplicated it, we still have one in the middle, so we want to right click here in the middle and select the middle one, and we want to Shift D on the X axis, and this time +15, enter. All right, we duplicated it again, so we want to right click in the middle, and we want to rotate, so R on the Z axis 90 degrees, and enter. All right, so now we're gonna Shift D on the Y axis, and we're gonna do 15 and enter. Now we're going to right click on the middle here. Oh, I grabbed that sucker, didn't I? That's all right. So with it up there, what we need to do is Shift D, and we want to, on the Y, Shift D, on the Y axis, -15, and enter. And now it brought it back to the middle. So what we're going to do is just grab, so G on the Y axis, -15, and enter. All right. So with the bottom one selected, what we want to do is we want to scale it. So S on the X axis, 2.5, and enter. And then on the left side, we're going to right click on the left side here, or select it, and we want to scale it on the Y axis, 2.5, and enter. And we're going to do the right side here, select it, and we want to scale on the Y axis, 2.5, and enter. All right, for the top, what we want to do is select it, and we want to G for grab. So we want to grab it on the X axis, -9.2, and enter. With it still selected, we want to Shift D to duplicate it on the X axis to restrict the movement, and we want to move it on 18.35, enter. Okay, now we use our middle mouse button to orbit down a little bit, and we can see that we have an opening, but we have walls all the way around. That's exactly what we want. Now with this wall selected, what we want to do is hold down the Shift button, all right, and we're going to select all the walls, but only the wall. We want to make sure that we don't select the plane below. All right, with all of them selected, we hit the Join button, or Control J. All right, with that done, it's a good idea at this point to set the origin to geometry, and then a shortcut for what we need to do is apply the scale. So what we want to do is Control A. All right, and with Control A, we apply the scale. All righty then. I believe we're done with that part. So now we want to hide the toolbar. So we hit T, and we're going to grab up here, and we're going to duplicate the window. We're going to go down here, and we're going to change this to the UV image editor. All right. So with the walls still selected, we want to go over here to the material tab, and I'm kind of going slow this time, but for the next stuff, when we do the same steps for like the floor and the tombstone and things like that, I'm going to go a little quicker. So at the material tab, you go New, and you want to click Shadeless, and then you want to go to Texture next to it, the Texture tab, and click New, and then go to Open and browse to where you downloaded the pictures that were on the website. And if you don't have the icons in picture form, it's because the button's not clicked over here. So you want to click on the right, this little button right here. And we're doing the walls here, so we'll grab the fence picture and we'll open the image. Okay, so because we opened it here, we can go over here to this icon next to new and click on browse image to be linked and click on it. Alright, and use the middle mouse button to scroll out and move your mouse over to this window, and you want to hit tab, or you can go down here to edit mode. So tab into edit mode, and then you want to make sure everything's selected and hit U for UV unwrap and unwrap it as a normal image. Now what we want to do is rotate, so R on the 90 degrees and enter. And we want to scale this down, so we want to S on the Y axis, and we're going to scale it down 0.7 and enter. All right. And then we want to scale it on the X axis 8 and enter. All right. And if you want to make any fine adjustments, you can. I'm going to scale it just a little bit more. So I'm going to hit S. And I'm just going to drag it out. And I want roughly 1.06 enter, just to be precise. All right, so hit tab, and that part is done. So what we want to do now is right click on the floor. I guess I still have a wall here in the middle. I'm not sure how that happened. It's amazing what happens. Okay, well, if you still have a wall in the middle like I do, you want to select it, hit X, and delete it. All right, so right click the floor in the middle, and we want to go to the materials tab and click new and shadeless. Excuse me, I'm getting over a sickness. We want to go to the texture tab, click new, go to open, and browse to where you saved the file at, and make sure that you do the JPEG, not the MP4. Oh, I'm so sorry. Now what you want to do is go over here to the UV image editor and browse to link to image, and choose the grass image. Go back over here to where the 3D window is and the ground is selected. Hit tab and U for UV unwrap, and unwrap that image. And you can leave it right where it's at. I'm just gonna leave it right there. I suppose it doesn't really matter at this point, but let's just hit A to deselect everything and hit C to circle select, and we'll select that one and right click, and we'll G grab on the X axis, and we'll just slide this over here. And to give an accurate reading, well, you know what, we're gonna slide it over to 294, enter. All right, so we want to hit tab, and at this point I believe we have everything done there. So the next thing to do is to right click this line in the middle, and we're going to join area, make sure the arrow goes to the right like so, and we're going to start on the tombstone here. So let's go to a new layer, which would be down here, one of the blank layers, and we want to add a cube, so Shift A, add a mesh cube, and we want to change the size, so we want to scale it on the Y axis 0.3 and enter, and we want to use tab for edit mode, and we're going to change it from vertex selection to face selection if it wasn't already. We want to make sure the faces are selected. All right, and scroll in just a little bit and right click on the top face. All right, and we want to hit T for the toolbar. All right, and then what we're going to do is W for subdivide right here. Okay, and we want 2 cuts. All right, now what we want to do is right click just and hold down shift and select just the middle 3. All right, it might help if you scroll in with your middle mouse. All right, and what we were going to do with these is we're going to move them. We want a G on the Z axis 0.4 and enter, and tab, and we want to set origin to geometry. All right, and we want to control A to apply the scale. All right, and then this is going to be quite simple here. We're going to split this window. Oops, I can't believe I just did that. We're going to split this window here, and we're going to hit we're going to change it to the UV image editor. All right, now with our tombstone selected here, we need to go to the materials tab, click new, and click shadeless, and we're going to go to the texture tab, click new, and open, and browse to where you saved the pictures. And we're going to use this picture here, which is actually the desert out in Nevada, but it looks like stone to me, so we're going to use it. And because it's selected already, we're going to go to browse image, and we're going to make sure it's the same image, which is the number 1 in parentheses, and move our mouse over here and use tab, A to deselect everything, and then A to select everything, and we want to U for unwrap, and enter, and scroll out just a little bit, and all the defaults are fine right here. So hit tab again, and it is time to move on to the fun part, the ghost. Dun dun dun. All right, so I must thank YouTube very much. I'll leave a link just for the ghost video tutorial that I saw, but a lot of what I've learned is from YouTube. So let's make a new layer here. All right, and we're going to right click in the middle here, and we're going to join area, and we're going to make sure the area goes this way. All right, and at this point we want to add a sphere, so shift A, mesh, and let's add a UV sphere, and let's scroll out with the middle mouse button just a little bit, and orbiting. Okay, so let's just do numpad 1 here. All right, and we want to scale it 0.2 and enter. All right, and let's scroll in just a little bit more. All right, now we're going to add a cylinder, so shift A, mesh, cylinder. All right, and we're going to size, scale 0.15, enter, and then scale on the Z axis 2.5 and enter, and then scale again the entire thing, so S 0.68, enter, and I want to move it, so grab on the X axis negative 0.4, enter, and then we're going to duplicate this, so shift D on the X axis 0.8 and enter, and then we're going to free rotate, so hold your mouse somewhere about over here or a distance away. It will work from this side too. but away from the origin point. And you want to push R and just kind of rotate this around to about there. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we're going to do the same thing here. So right click on it and rotate around. And that'll be good. Let's give it some character. So I'll move this one down just slightly and we'll rotate it just a little bit more. Okay. The sphere is a little big or a little small. So let's right click it and we're going to scale it 1.33 and enter. All right. That's a little better. So the next step is we want to shift A and we want to mesh, add a plane. And we want to grab that on the Z axis, 0.5, and enter. We're going to change the top view, so numpad 7. And we want to scale this on the X axis, 0.62, and enter. And then we want to make sure that the plane is still selected and tab for edit mode. And we want to subdivide this thing. So we'll go over here and we'll subdivide it. Go down here to the number of cuts, and we want to do 50, 5, 0. All right, and then tab out of edit mode. All right, and use the middle mouse button to go back down here, and right click on the cylinder, and select the cylinder, the sphere, and the other cylinder while holding down Shift. All right, with all three selected, we want to join them, or Control J. All right, and we want to change the physics type to collision. All right, and now we want to select a plane, and we want to add a modifier to it. All right, and make the modifier of cloth. All right, and we want the preset. Oh, and then we go to physics here, and we want the preset of silk. All right, now all you have to do is push play. It won't work because we are on the last frame. So we want to go back to the very first frame, and then we push play. And you'll see the simulation run, and you'll hear this music in the background. So let it play out for a while. I personally, when it stops moving, you just push pause again. I'm not going to go past frame 80. The silk isn't moving anymore. So what I'm going to do is go back to the first frame, and I'm going to scrub through it here, and we're going to see which frames I like. You can choose whichever frame you like. So after choosing, or after taking a look at everything, I want to hit the smooth button. Okay, and I personally, I liked frame 42, but I also liked frame 16. So I think in this tutorial I'm going to go with frame 42, but I would like to see anybody with I'd like to see anybody else. What just happened there? I have to push play again. I must have lost my cache at some point. But I'm going to stop it at 42 here. I went 2 over, so back up. I'm going to leave it right there, but I'd like to see someone make one on frame 16. So with frame 42 selected down here, we want to go to the wrench, back to the modifier tab, and we want to click apply. And I want to make sure, yeah, we want to apply the cloth. Okay, and then we want to Control A, and we want to apply scale and rotation on this. All right, and we want to set the origin to geometry. All right, and we want to with it still selected, we'll go to the material tab, click new, and we'll go shadeless, and we'll leave the color on there. All right. And then we want to right click the cylinder and hit X to delete it. And there's our ghost. And now all we have to do is bring things together here. So right click on the ghost and M to move it. And we'll move it back to the first layer here. And we'll go to the second layer here and right click on the tombstone and hit M. And we'll move to the first layer here. All right, and let's go to the first layer and scroll out just a little bit here. I'm gonna just free orbit. I'm gonna use Z, just Z by itself will put us into wireframe mode, and I'm going to select the ghost, and I'm gonna hit Z again. Let's see, with all that, sorry, okay, with the ghost selected, we want to hit G, X, 2, enter, and then G on the Z, 0.81, enter, G on the Y, 3, and enter. All right, basically just kind of moved them out of the middle there. And we're going to right click on the tombstone here, and we're going to push 1 on the numpad, and actually let's just middle mouse button, we'll just orbit over here and we'll grab it using the mouse on the Z axis, and we'll just go until it's at the very top there, just like so. At this point, we need to shift D on the X axis, and we're going to go negative 5.7, enter. And then we want to right click on the middle one, and we want to shift D on the X axis, and we want to do 5.7, enter. All right. I'm just gonna scroll out just a little bit more with my middle mouse button, kind of look at the composition of everything. Kind of looks okay. So let's take a look and see what it looks like under the game. So we want to change the Blender render to game render right there, and we're going to change from the solid view, and we want to change it to I believe texture. There we go. There we go. That's what it should look like. Okay. That looks all right. It's not a great game. I'm not trying to say that it's going to be a great game. But, all right. So, now what we need to do is select all 3 tombstones. All right. So, that one's selected. So, holding down Shift, I'm going to right-click those, and I'm going to right-click the ground, and we're going to right-click the walls. With all those selected, except for the ghost, we want to join them together. All right. Now, we also want to Control A and apply the scale. All right. And it's a good idea to set the origin to geometry. All right. Now, here's how we make the ghost know how to navigate through this. So we want to go over here to the scene, and with the floor or object selected type thing, you want to go down here to the navigation mesh. All right, and click Build Navigation Mesh. And that's as far as we're going with that. The next thing you need to do is come up here to the outliner and make sure that it's not rendered while playing the game. That way you don't see it. And we're just going to go ahead and make it so we don't see it here either with the eye. So now that that's done, that was easy enough. Now we need to get the ghost to follow us, right? And there is no us. So let's make us. Shift A. Well, in case the cursor has been moved because you right click or left clicked or something, let's Shift S to snap the cursor to center. All right. And then Shift A and we'll UV sphere. All right. And then we're going to scale it. So S.3 and enter. And then we want to grab on the Y axis negative 8.5 and enter. And we want to grab it on the Z axis 0.5 and enter. And let's go to the material tab over here and click new. And you can use whatever color you want. You just by clicking here, and I'm going to choose a light blue, but if you want to use exactly what I'm using, you can use the hex number of 85, C as in Charlie, 9er, E as in Echo, 7. All right, and you'll get the exact same thing that I'm using. And then what we want to do is change the emission right here under shading. We want to change that to 2. All right. And then at this point, we are ready to set up the game logic, which is basically how you make things move, like with the keyboard, how we're going to make our character move with the keyboard. All right. So what we do with that is we go up here right below next to the default, and we want to change it to game logic. All right. Go ahead and click your middle mouse button and orbit, get some perspective on this. And with our character selected right there, let's go ahead and give it a game property. So we click on it, and it says prop right there is the default name, and we'll keep it as a float. But what we'll do is we'll name it Joe, as in J-O, and it's lowercase, which is important. All right. Now we're going to take J-O, which is our character here, and we're going to make a move with the keyboard. We're going to make a move with the arrows on the keyboard. So we need a sensor for that. We click on the sensor and we click keyboard. All right. Now the shortcut key to this is to hold the middle or hold the mouse over here and hold down Shift S and then let go of Shift and then S and then K. All right. Oh, I just realized that my screencast is not oh, it is still on, but it does no good. Okay. So we're going to do that again, and we need to do it 2 more times because there's a total of 4 directions. So we're going to do Shift A, S as in a sensor, and then K for a keyboard. And then one last time. Shift A, S, and K. All right. We're going to go ahead and add actuators right now. These are what makes the motion happen. And as an actuator, we want motion actuator. All right, makes sense. And the shortcut to that is with the mouse over here, we want to Shift A and then A and T. So Shift A, and T, and one more, Shift A, and T. All right. Now, let's zoom in just a little bit with your middle mouse button. And it's important to label everything. So we're going to label this one, and we're going to label it up. Just that simple. And we click on the key area here, and we push up. All right. And let's go ahead and connect the noodle. And let's collapse this and collapse this one. And label this one as up. And we want it to move on the y-axis. And I want it to move 0.1 and enter. All right. So we'll collapse that and label this one as down. Whoops. And use the key, down arrow, connect it with the noodle, collapse it, and this is going to be down. And this is going to be on the y-axis, but it's going to be negative. Whoops. It's going to be negative 0.1 and enter. I just want to double check that. Yeah, it was 0.1. Okay. So collapse that. And then we're going to do the next keyboard sensor, which is going to be left. And click the left arrow. Make your noodle. Click over here, type left, make sure your labels, and we're going to use the x-axis, which would be right here. We're using the location rather than rotation. So on the x-axis and left would be negative 0.1, enter. And close these, close that, and we'll go right, label, right arrow, connect with the noodle, right. A lot of tedious work. And this is going to be on the x-axis, and we're going to do 0.1, enter, and there, and there. All right. So now we need the ghost to follow our character. And our character, with our character still selected, let's go over here to the physics button, and we're going to change the physics type to character. All right, we'll just leave it like that. Now, select your ghost and go to the add sensor, and we want it to always, so always sensor. All right, and go to the actuator, and we want it to steer. Go to the steering actuator and connect the noodle. All right. All right, and we want the behavior not to be seek, but we want it to be path following. All right, and we want the target object to be the sphere over here, our character. So our target object is going to be sphere. And our navigation mesh is, ta-da, Shakur, navigation mesh. All right, now what we want to do is, I don't know if you know how to move around here, so push your middle mouse button and kind of move it a little bit. I want to visualize, and we'll go over here and push play. And can't see anything, hit escape, and change it from solid view to material view, and push play again. Okay, so you see the ghost turns sideways and goes into the floor. Hit escape. That's really easy to fix. With the ghost selected, we want to go to the physics tab if it's not already selected. We want to change from static to dynamic. That will keep him from going through the floor. Now, with the axis here, we need to change this from the x-axis to the negative y-axis. And how I know that is the positive y-axis is indicated by the green arrow going out the back. And I want forward to be the reverse of that. So that'd be the negative y. So that's why I went with that. So negative y. And hold the mouse over here and push play. And look, it works. Okay, and hit escape. And let's see if our character moves. Now I'm going to use the arrows to move around. So push play and move the arrows. And you can see how the ghost is continuing to follow. And so now you have a game. Kind of. What we need to do is we need to set up a win scene, maybe even a lose scene, and we're going to add music. So let's all right, so everything's set up. Oh, so with the ghost selected, let's just go ahead and add a collision sensor so we can change scenes. So let's collapse and collapse and collapse and add a sensor, add collision. All right. And we want to add an actuator, which is going to set scene. So it's going to be a scene actuator. Let's connect these two. And let's, I guess we'll just leave it on restart there. Okay. You can change it to another scene, which I'll show you how to do in just a moment. But over here in the collision, we want the property to say J-O, Joe. All right. Not lowercase, not uppercase. It is case sensitive. So now when the ghost hits Joe, it will restart the entire scene. And we can test this by hitting P and waiting and poor Joe. And it restarted. So hit escape. All right. Now, what we need to do is, wow, we're burning through this. This is awesome. All right. Let's let's just make a new scene right here. So we want to hit the plus sign right here. And we want a new scene. And hit numpad 1 to go into front orthographic view, and we're going to shift A to add text, and right here choose text, R on rotate on the x-axis 90 degrees and enter, and tab, and let's just backspace and play, or yeah, play again. Oh, whoops. I don't even know how to spell. There we go. Play again. All right. T for the toolbar, and set the origin to geometry. All right. And then we want to shift A or shift S, and we want to selection to cursor. All right. And then we want to, I guess, yeah, we want to take material tab over here and click new, and let's just choose like a kind of a reddish color, and go shadeless. All right, and I believe we need to have a camera, so let's just do that now. So we'll shift A and add a camera, and Control Alt 0 will bring us into the camera like so. All right, so that's scene. Okay, and let's go ahead and label that as bad, as in bad outcome type thing. All right, and then let's make a new scene one more time. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a full copy. All right, and we're going to change the label to good. All right, and let's right click on the text here And let's hit tab, and we'll backspace, and we'll say good job. All right, and then what we'll do is hit tab, and we'll change that to a green color. All right, and we'll go back to our scenes here, and we'll go to the main scene. All right, and I guess this is a good point right now where we want to hit N, and we want to scroll down to this lock camera to view right here. And now we can orbit. We can orbit and scroll in and out so we can get a full view. Hold down shift to pan even, whatever we want to do. I'm just trying to get a good solid view right here. I think that will work like so. And make sure you uncheck lock camera to view, N and T. And let's see. So with the ghost still selected, we want to change it from restart to set scene and choose here bad. All right. And so we're really close here. So let's orbit out of here, or actually let's push numpad 7 and scroll in just a little bit and push, and let's orbit down, and shift S and make sure the cursor is to center, and shift A and mesh and cube. All right, and we're going to grab it on the Y axis. We're going to just drag it up here, and we're just going to do 15, enter, and we're going to scale it. So S on the X axis, and we want to scale it. We're going to do 3.8 and enter. All right. What we want to go over here to the outliner here, and we want to make sure that the cube is not visible and that it's not rendered in the game, but you can tell that you're still selected. So with the cube there, what we want to do is, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, so what we want to do is hit add sensor. I can't add sensor. So go ahead and hit the visible button back. Why is the cube dark? I'm not sure why that cube is dark right now. Okay, so with it not hidden, let's add a sensor, collision, add actuator, and we want to set scene. And we're going to set the scene, and we're going to say good, because that's the way out. We want it to win when we get there. Connect the noodle here, and the property that we're going to use is Joe, so J-O lowercase. All right, and now we want to make sure that we go here to the cube and we can hit not rendered. Sorry, my mouse keeps messing up there, folks. I have a low battery. So make sure that's not rendered. And then let's scroll in just a little bit. And in the outliner, what we need to do is find the camera. Select the camera, sensor. Let's do always. And go to actuator and add a sound. All right, let's connect these two together and open, and go to wherever you saved the sound that we cut out at the very beginning of the video, and click open sound. And usually you want to do play to stop, but in this scenario we're just going to play till end. All right, and So there's one more thing that I want to add to make this final here. I just need to double check a couple of things here. Correct. Okay, and exit. So yeah, very good. I'm glad I had notes here. So something we want to do at this point right now is go over here to the file. All right, and we want to go to external data, and we want to check this box up here that says automatically pack into blend file. All right, and you'll see 5 items were packed in the blend file. All right, so let's just give this a little shot here, and we'll go play. Sound. I'm getting away, and I got to the cube. All right, so hit escape, and so now I'm going to hit play, and I'm going to let the ghost hit me, and play again. So the reason those are white instead of the colors is because they're still text objects instead of making them full objects. But that you can learn more about how to do that type of stuff in a different tutorial. I'm really trying to cut this. I gotta hurry. So the one line, well, I guess since we're going there anyway, let's just do it. Let's change the scene here, and let's change it to the bad to start with, okay? And scroll in and right click on the text here, and what we want to do is it's Control Alt C. No, what is it? Okay, so what you want to do, you can always hit spacebar, and we want to convert, which is Alt C, and we want to convert mesh from text. All right, now it'll show the color that we used. And another thing I want to do real quick is right click on the camera and add a sensor, and add a delay sensor. Okay, and we want to add an actuator and scene, and we're going to set scene back to the scene, and we're going to connect with the noodle. And a lot of people don't know that you can do math in the field. So the delay is how many seconds you want before it automatically makes this action go through. But I don't know the math of 60, so there's 60 milliseconds in a second, and it's based off of that. So I want 60, which would represent 1 second, and then I'm going to times it by 4 seconds. All right, and that's how you do math in Blender. So let's go ahead and go to the next scene here, which would be good. And because that's a win type scenario, we're going to do add sensor, and we're going to go to delay, and we're going to set 60 for 60 milliseconds for 1 second. So 60 times, and we're going to do this a little longer. So 6 seconds. Hit enter, and we're going to add a actuator, and it's going to set the scene, and it's going to set scene to scene, and connect the noodle, and right click the I selected that to the text object, and that's okay. I like to use the camera because there's always a camera, but this will work. But you see where I messed up. Now with the text selected, we want to hit Alt C, and we want to change from mesh to text. All right, come back up here to scene, and let's go into camera mode by hitting numpad 0. Let's just test this one last time. Okay, I want to turn off the visualization maybe. Okay, got there. The delay, did the delay work? I'm not sure. The delay did work. Okay, hit escape. So let me just zip through my notes. I did the math, I did the escape, pathfinding, did all that. Did all that. Oh my gosh. OMG. So the last thing we need to do is the output. So what we do here is go here to File, and we want to so we want to save as, and on the desktop we'll save as cool game, and I'm sure you'll have a better name than that. And press save. All right, and then what you do here is you want to save and export. And after you, so under File, what you need to do is go to User Preferences, all right, and you need to go to Add-ons, all right, and from there you scroll down through the categories, and I usually try to do, where was it, the import or game engine. Click, no, import export. Click the import export, and make sure that you have a check mark next to where is it? It's all falling apart right now. My whole thing is falling apart. But make sure your Python scripts are activated. Okay, and then go up here to File, go to Export. All right, and you want to export save as game engine runtime. All right, now this is very important. Do not export it to your desktop because there's a bunch of files in it. What you want to do is go over here, click this plus sign in a new directory, okay, and type a new directory of cool game. All right, and then you want to go into that cool game directory. All right, and it will be selected as exe, which is fine because it's an executable file in which you are doing, and then click save as runtime engine. There is no progress bar, so you just kind of sit here and wait. And if it says not responding, just give it time. It will respond. It's actually doing all the calculations right now, and this was nowhere near 1 hour. And as soon as I can end this, I will. And I hope everything turns out just peachy for you. Here's some last parting things. On what to remember. Make sure you add a texture and material for everything. Make sure you apply scale to everything. Make sure the ghost is dynamic. And please, please share. If you found any use of this video, please share. Thank you very much for your time.